Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 864. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Morning, Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Welcome to August, officially, for what it's worth. Happy, as we record this, happy Enola Gay Day, August 6th, 1945. America dropped the first ever nuclear bomb in warfare. So happy anniversary to that.
I've been to Hiroshima. I have seen the after effects of said bomb.
Yeah?
It ain't pretty.
No, it ain't.
Nice town, though. It's several decades later. It's a nice town.
Yeah, it wasn't on August 6th, nope. But it's coming on August 7th. Thankfully, yeah, we won't be marking the Nagasaki anniversary either on August 9th. But yeah,
or VJ Day, I'm assuming either.
No. This is the problem with because I remember dates pretty well, and so like whenever a historic date comes around, just like, oh right, that awful historic event happened this day in history.
There are lots to choose from.
Really are. You know, September 1st is when like what it was September 1st or September 3rd that World War II started. It's also the September 3rd is the birthday of my Cabbage Patch Kid, who I called Rafel that I had when I was a kid, and I still remember that.
What'd you call him? Rafel?
Oh yeah, it's Raphael, but as a kid I was like, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Well, that's
so
all right.
Okay,
that's good.
Yeah,
I like this name, Rafel.
Rafel, right? It's unique.
Like Rafel Fines.
Like exactly. I was just it was the Welsh pronunciation of Raphael. And that's
the Ninga Tiartles.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what pronunciation that is wrong.
No, Rafel became. He might still be at my parents' house. I don't know. I hope he is because he had a head of blonde hair, curly blonde hair, and he's very Colin Baker. And if I was enterprising enough, I would get a 6th Doctor outfit made for him, and he would wear it.
That's got to be on Etsy somewhere. I guarantee you somebody on Etsy has done this.
Oh, yeah.
Buy one of those 6th Doctor outfit t-shirts and just put it on them?
That's cheating. If Colin Baker did that in that 5-ish Doctors thing, but come on, you know.
He's allowed.
He's allowed to. Yeah, he's allowed to take the day off. He took several days off during Doctor Who. He took a whole year off because the BBC
He's doing a lot of work trying to get his kids to watch Vengeance on Varos. Come on.
Yeah. Speaking of anniversary dates and things, is anybody watching this Cybus Industries Twitter account and webpage?
Nope. Just learned of it yesterday.
Yeah, they're counting down. As of we're recording this on Saturday, August 6th. This episode comes out at 2 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, August 7th. And I think
half an hour before the timer ends.
Half an hour after that, this timer ends at cybusindustries.org, a website powered by International Electromagnetics. People are wondering if this is like one of those, like BBC internal, like, ooh, it's a fictional site within a site kind of thing, and it's counting down to something, but we don't know. As of recording, we don't know.
Cybus and International Electromatics presumably are trademarks owned by the BBC, so
you would think that,
but I mean, fashion. So,
I mean, we have a Dalek in our logo, and the Doctor Who theme is our theme song.
That's true. It could just be somebody doing stuff. Like we don't know.
Yeah. So watch what happens, because who knows if this is just like maybe it's a countdown to some fan audio series or it's stealth marketing from the BBC. Who can tell?
Well, you can tell by some outside PR firm emailing certain people. I don't know who, I'm just saying certain people.
Right.
Then you'll know it's definitely somebody's PR initiative as opposed to some fan coming up with something, which could be the case. You're right.
I mean, we did some digging. I mean, Chris, didn't you search out the URL or something and found like a whole bunch of redacted
domain
info?
Registration.
Yeah. That was right. Yeah. What did you find about that? It was all redacted or something?
Yeah. Every second thing was withheld for privacy reasons.
Oh.
So then that's probably a company that fans wouldn't care.
It wasn't overly enlightening.
Interesting. It was enlightening by how unenlightening it was, basically. Yeah.
17-minute gaps and all that.
Yeah. So, right. So, or 18 hours or however long it was on January 6th.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
So who knows what's happening there? But
I just expect they're going to delete all their social media presence except for this website.
I hope so. What a genius move. And I say genius, I mean stupid.
yeah, as the BBC rattles on towards the they're really building up to the finale, which a little birdie tells me that October 16th, Sunday, October 16th, will be the day where Jodie Whittaker's final episode airs. So put that in pencil and put the pencil away. That's how assured I am that it's going to be that exact day.
I will be at CanCon in Ottawa, so I guess I'm hauling a bunch of audio equipment with me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we. Sorry, Warren. That's.
What are you gonna do? It's not your fault.
No, perils of podcasting, I guess. So yeah, so when that time comes, we'll do a live stream review again. Probably it'll be even later in the night for you, Warren. It'll be close to midnight probably for you, maybe.
Yeah,
possibly. Because we usually we usually do them pretty late. But we'll see. On October 16th, which is like just over 2 months from now. Like we don't even have a title, we don't have a trailer, we don't have anything apart from the fact that there's this potential website that might be tied in with it or might not be, and I had to have someone tell me the date. So there you go. There's your update on how the marketing process is going. And
given it was all filmed almost a year ago, we have very little in the way of spoilers and like leaks and stuff. So yeah. I mean, that's good.
That is, well, you know what? That Chris Chibnall goes out the exact note that he hoped. That no one was talking about his show and spoiling it. So that's
gotta go.
Perfect. No one's mentioning a thing. I think we're getting away with it. Anyway, this episode, by the way, features a panel at Chicago Fan Expo from July 8th. Yeah, that's when it was, when Erika and I went down there. Amazingly enough, we were in Wisconsin at the time, and our good friend Kyle Anderson was putting on a panel at Chicago Fan Expo for Doctor Who and what was happening in the 60th anniversary. And Paul Booth, our good friend Paul Booth, was also there. So all four of us are on that panel. It's recorded bootleg style. I brought like about 4 different ways to try and patch into the board, and it turned out there was a 5th way, and I didn't have a cord for it. So the audio's a little lesser quality than I like to have on these things, but it's still audible enough and everything. And there are now, spoiler warning, there are some discussion of like stuff that happened on set reports and stuff for the 60th anniversary. So if you're averse to that sort of thing, it's nothing too different than what we've already talked about on this podcast. But just a note for when that thing comes up. There's some discussion about that. But first, the news. I don't know if you noticed, but Ncuti Gatwa is going to be a Doctor Who in probably about 2 to 3 years' time. But
that soon?
That's. Did you see the thing about Neil Patrick? Because Neil Patrick Harris has a show called Uncoupled that's out on Netflix as of last week, I think. And so he's been doing press for it. And naturally, people have sort of like asked him about Doctor Who. And like Neil Patrick Harris was talking about Ncuti Gatwa, and he said he's going to be the first gay doctor, and I'm thinking,
I mean,
I don't.
Is that technically true? Because I mean, 13 is sort of avoiding a relationship with somebody, but still interested.
Well, I know that some people have also said Ncuti Gatwa was gay too. Like, he doesn't actually ever come out and either way to say it. I'm thinking, Patrick Harris, did you just out him when he didn't want to be outed if he was outed indeed? So I don't know.
But does that also make the Eccleston doctor bisexual, or?
I don't know. Which is odd too, because I wouldn't why would Neil Patrick Harris, he's shooting stuff with David Tennant, why would he know about Ncuti Gatwa's doctor,
No.
Because he met him, he said?
He met him, I guess, yeah.
I mean, taking all that aside, if it's true, great, wonderful, fine. Mm-hmm. Where's the problem here? There isn't one.
No, not at all. But I'm just, I know. I'm just saying. I like to leave those sort of things to the people to announce themselves if they're going to do such a thing.
Yeah.
And,
also, if anybody was going to do that, it'd be RTD. Let's be honest. He would definitely do that.
Or Ncuti Gatwa himself. So,
True. Yeah.
Who is going to be in season 4? I can't believe they've done 4 seasons, or they will be doing 4 seasons of Sex Education, which they are filming in the fall. Currently was shooting Barbie, I think, still, because that's what he's been. Ryan Gosling's been in the UK for that. And Ncuti Gatwa was this filming a lot of stuff at like Pinewood Studios these days. and they announced that with some canny scheduling, I believe is the word they used, they're going to be able to shoot both Doctor Who and Sex Education season 4 with Ncuti Gatwa there. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what that. So what it means basically is what I thought is that they're shooting Doctor Who with Ncuti Gatwa in the fall. They've pretty much wrapped with David Tennant's episodes, I think, although maybe not. They might be pressing on into other stuff too. I'm not too sure. But it looks like they'll be dovetailing stuff. It'll be like Peter Davison in his first season having to take a 3-month break halfway through his first season to shoot like Sink or Swim. It'll be just like that. I don't know.
Exactly like that. Almost. By the way, complete side note, but I keep seeing pictures of Ncuti in that yellow jacket and next to a TARDIS, and I'm like, I don't know if that is his costume, but I kind of hope it is his costume. It looks pretty damn good.
I don't think it's his costume.
No, probably not. Also, I hope he keeps the stash, but he probably won't even do that either.
Yeah, that's a big thing too. The first mustachioed doctor, potentially. I mean,
well, technically, because the War Doctor does have a beard.
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot about that. John Hurt just breaks all the norms, all the rules and stuff, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, So Ncuti Gatwa, shooting both Sex Education and Doctor Who, potentially around the same time. So expect lots of Doctor Light episodes. Where's the Doctor this week? Everyone's just gonna be standing around wondering where Doctor Who is, and he's off with Gillian Anderson shooting Sex Education. Who knows?
Yeah, David Tennant can just sub in at that point.
maybe that's what he's there for. He's just there to like, Hamish Wilson style. He's just like, I'm suddenly David Tennant again for a week and a half.
Everyone's favorite substitute teacher / doctor, David Tennant.
David Tennant. Yep. That's exactly how it goes. What's funny is going back to the panel where we talk about Doctor Who in the 60th, back in early July where we recorded that. There was some brief discussion about where Doctor Who was going to be streaming and stuff. I think Paul says something about BritBox, and this is before the whole Disney Plus thing had even cropped up. I didn't even think Disney Plus was a thing, and I said, it'll probably be HBO Max because Doctor Who has an established relationship there. And then this week happened.
Whoopsie!
HBO Max is having a week. I tell you, they are merging with Discovery Plus to form a new streaming network because explain to me the Marat business nonsense, Warren, because
Discovery bought bought Warner Brothers, which owns HBO Max,
right?
So that now they're, as opposed to having a vast morass of different streaming services, they're putting it all together in one. But because they're idiots, because they're Marat business people, it's not going to go off. Here's basically what it boils down to: is they don't say this, but the reality stuff is going to be dominant on the service, and then the HBO Max stuff won't be pushed to the back, but it'll definitely be part of a larger whole. And the reason for that is because reality stuff is cheap and it makes a ton of money. And that's what they care about. And as Marat businessmen, fair enough. But it doesn't make for a good viewing experience for everybody. And our fairly media savvy friends were up in arms about it. And they're all Americans who have to deal with this app. We don't. So they have every right to be angry about how crappy the app is to begin with, I believe. And this is not going to make it any better.
Well, I also know a few people in the industry, and the famous one here is that Batgirl, a movie that had finished shooting and was well into post-production, but was intended for HBO Max streaming, not theatrical release. $90 million have been put in this movie. Canceled, gone, done. Finito. Why? Tax purposes. So, which means you will never see it. You will never see it. It won't be sold off because it's a tax write-off, and therefore, because of contractual reasons, it can't be shown. So this new film with a Batgirl and like Michael Keaton reprising his role as Batman, it's gone. That and like 5 other movies that they had made.
Scooby-Doo animated movie, which
that one's gone. 4 other ones that were made and were already on the service have been taken off, also for tax reasons. And then a lot of people I know some people who know people who had their projects who weren't quite like announced yet, also canceled from this whole thing. So
wouldn't it just be easier to stay dead for a year for tax reasons.
Tax reasons.
That's
right?
essentially what they're doing.
Yeah.
The thing about this is that besides all the business reasons they've listed out, some of which might be legitimate business reasons, who knows? I don't have access to their bottom line, although in the earnings call they apparently lost $3.2 billion, which may be a drop in the bucket. Anyway, a time-honored Hollywood tradition, and I'm putting that in air quotes, is that when the new guy comes in, which is definitely what this new Zaslav guy is, he gets rid of the old guy stuff so that if any of it succeeds, he looks bad. So there's a stink of that happening here too.
A lot, yeah, because they already swept CNN Plus under the rug because that sort of happened.
That was a good idea, though.
That was a good idea.
Should have gotten rid of that.
Yeah, but it just goes to show, like, it reminds me of when Doctor Who was on CBC. Slavko Kimkyu was the controller-ish of CBC here in Canada for like 2004, 2005. And he was like, oh my God, we got to get this Doctor Who show in. It's going to look gangbusters. Looks like there's not going to be an NHL season, so there won't be playoffs to worry about. Let's get Doctor Who, put money in to promote it. We get a sponsor in Volkswagen. We get Christopher Eccleston to do the little introductions and stuff. And they went gangbusters for Doctor Who. It aired 10 days after its initial release back in 2005, which was unheard of in the day and date age. And then
But was he also the one who wanted to have it subtitled?
I don't know if he was. There might have been other people who thought maybe we should. There's probably other people in the room who says, we should have him dubbed because we can't understand what he's saying.
Canadians we just have less money. We aren't any smarter than the Americans when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, but then he left. He left the CBC like in 2006 or 2007, and all of a sudden Doctor Who was like, why is this here? What are we, like, the new person came in and says, what are we doing this for? And it just got buried and ignored, and it was in the wilderness on the CBC for 2 or 3 years after that. So it just goes to show that, like, when whoever's leading the charge at a network, if they have a passion for a project and then they go, like, goodbye, like, look out, because that project is probably gone. So all this is leading to, of course, Doctor Who airs on HBO Max after the fact. After it airs on BBC America, it waits 6 months and goes on to HBO Max. This is what's in place as of right now. I don't know what the future holds, but I hope that it's not with HBO Max, given what's been happening here.
Because if they're burying their Max stuff, we should go into that slide before we do anything else.
Yeah,
how about
that? They had a sales call with a whole bunch of, like, PowerPoint presentations and, like, a public sales call, and of course the slide that got the most attention was comparing the two networks, HBO Max and Discovery Plus. HBO Max, male skew, scripted, lean in, appointment viewing, home of quote-unquote fandoms. Meanwhile, Discovery Plus, female skew, unscripted, lean back, comfort viewing, home of Genredoms. It's basically just like women don't watch anything and don't pay attention to anything.
Absolute nonsense. Our friend Kim Rogers immediately said, how much scripted stuff do I watch?
Yeah.
Like, this is complete corporate idiot speak. And it is. It really is.
It really is. So... the thing is that, like, PowerPoint slides like this probably existed everywhere, but they probably happen in Disney Plus boardroom meetings too, but they don't get publicly available like the HBO Max.
Yeah, much as you hate Marvel, the one thing they're good at is trotting out exactly what people want to see in terms of this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So
except for the haters of, like, Ms. Marvel and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, but you're never going to please idiots. So, I mean, but I'm saying in terms of public presentation, you're never going to see the word Genredoms come anywhere near a Marvel presentation. They're just going to go, hey, you want the superhero that has space boots and says Kazam? Here he is.
Yeah.
That's because I don't think Genredoms is an actual word.
It's not a word.
Yeah, but that won't stop business people, trust me. As somebody who's been under the yoke of corporate oppression for literally decades, nothing will stop them making up. It's amazing how people who have no creativity whatsoever are incredible at coming up with new and more baffling words.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So go on, Chris.
From a consumer standpoint, though,
right.
Unless they charge as much as the two services combined, this should be a good thing because you can reduce one streaming service and presumably pay a lower rate every month to get the two into the combined one.
But from a consumer experience thing, if you were there to see HBO stuff and all of a sudden you can't get past without a lot of struggle, a million Property Brothers shows to get to the good stuff, you're not going to be terribly thrilled about that. Also, they might be making less scripted stuff because it's making them less money and it costs them more.
That's a down the line concern, I suppose, potentially. But as far as, like, finding stuff is concerned, there's There's no shortage of bad interfaces out there that no matter what you wanted to find, there still may be difficulty.
House of the Dragon, you better do well. That's what I'm saying to you right now, because that's a very expensive show. So if it isn't gangbusters off the top, I mean, I'm just guessing here, but I'm thinking that'd be one they'd go, yeah, why are we spending money on this dragon crap?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what does this all have to do with Doctor Who? Well, Doctor Who, as we say in the U.S., is on HBO Max afterwards. I mean, as we've often said on this show, I think BBC America is pretty much done as of October 17th, we'll say. I feel like the Jodie Whittaker finale will be the last thing that airs on BBC America, and after that, it'll probably have a new home somewhere. I hope it's on HBO Max, given this. I really hope it's...
me too.
Really hope it's Disney Plus, because that would be much as you might dump on Disney owning everything, and I'm one of those people, but you know what, it's a stable place where eyeballs go to, and it seems to fit their sort of family friendly motif, so it seems like a right
just gonna say Kyle Anderson basically said the same thing. He doesn't want Disney Plus owning yet. They wouldn't own it anyway, and I'm sure he knows that, but yeah, it's kind of like, why did I vote liberal? Well, because that was the best I could do, basically. Was it great? No. Was it better than the other two? Yep.
The
Am I happy?
Party.
No.
Yep. So we'll see. Once again, we're waiting for the Jodie Whittaker finale. Just sure. Send off Jodie Whittaker hopefully in style and stuff, but we're also sort of just waiting for the other shoe to fall to see what's going to happen with the show after that. Let's face it. I hate to say that, but I'm almost more intrigued to just not looking forward to the finale, but looking forward to what happens after the finale in terms of behind the scenes and promotion and everything like that. Because I feel like there's a lot of stuff to just basically waiting to be put into place once the final credits roll.
It's not like it's not going to get made. It's going to be on BBC one way or the other. The rest is all window dressing, really.
Yeah. Which is why I hope it's...
Except the show survives with international distribution deals.
I suppose. And
Literally.
Sony money now, so who knows? And Sony, luckily enough, does not have a streaming service, because if it did, it would suck.
I know. Gosh, Sony looks so good right now. Like this, you should start your own streaming service. Yeah, you know what? We're just going to sell off our stuff. Why not?
They've made a lot of dumb decisions in their day, but that is not one of them.
Nope. Yep, that is smart. Given the bubble seems to be not bursting or collapsing, but you know what? It's wobbling. Let's say that. There's a little bit of a wobble to the streaming service industry.
This is inevitable. It had to happen. Like there's too much money was good. It felt exactly like every tech bubble you've ever seen, because it is basically every tech bubble you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's interesting. Did we talk about this last week? The Orphan Black thing? I can't remember if we did or not. It's been so long.
The audio version?
No, they greenlit another prequel. It's starring what's her name from Breaking Bad and
Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter.
Kristen Ritter is in it, and it's an Orphan Black prequel or sequel. Or spinoff. I don't know. I can't remember which, but it was announced by AMC Studios and AMC Plus, and the press release is all about AMC, and not a mention of BBC America. And I just feel like it's over. It's over. BBC America is the original home of Orphan Black, indeed the original producer of Orphan Black, and now it's not even mentioned.
Proudly Canadian Orphan Black.
Maybe. Well, the original was. I don't know about this one though. Doesn't feel like it is, but so yeah, BBC America, not long for this world. Is that it? Any other comments from the YouTube?
Watch this space as far as HBO Max goes, because that'll be the thing. Is I like to drive this stuff, but it's basically sports. It's a lot of fun to watch these guys thrash around.
Yeah, I know.
My money's not involved, so
yeah. That's why I like listening to a podcast called Downstream, which I also edit. Full disclosure, which Jason Sell and Julia Alexander from it's all about the business of streaming and stuff. And like this is I don't even watch shows. I just like knowing about the business of shows. Does that make me wrong? Am I wrong about that?
No, absolutely not. No? I do the same. Like I've listened to Downstream myself, and I'm not involved in it in any way. I happen to know Jason. That's about it.
Yeah.
But then Julia, man, she knows her stuff. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
She is. I mean, she's getting paid to, but she's really good at it.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, Chris, you were you were into tech and stuff, but you probably liked listening to stuff about tech as much as you liked tech, like watching programs and reading stuff. No,
ebbs and flows.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's where I am at anyway with the streaming service industry, except for Doctor Who, of course. I like Doctor Who, and I watch that a lot. Probably too much, some might say.
I would.
Like spotting guest actors. There's the new Doctor Who magazine special coming out this coming week, August 11th. It's all about guest stars, 100 actors who stole the show on Doctor Who. On the cover is Kylie Minogue, who of course is in Voyage of the Damned, and there's Timothy Dalton, who was once James Bond and then played a character in Doctor Who, I'm led to believe. And
how dare you? He's one of the only good things about that.
and then
Spittle.
Yeah, and then controversially, there's Jean Marsh there as Sarah Kingdom. Isn't she supposed to be a companion and not a guest star?
Well,
controversially, according to Celebration.
Yeah.
If they had Jean Marsh on there from the Crusades, then there wouldn't be any.
That'd be it. Or Battlefield.
Any debate, because she was straight up a guest actor on there. And as Sarah Kingdom, yeah, I guess that could be controversial.
Yeah, controversial. Anyway. That is coming out on August 11th, so you can pre-order that. Of course,
is Toby Haydock the guest editor?
I don't know, but
because he should be, frankly.
Yeah. Well, I'm upset because I've been watching through Bergerac on the background while editing podcasts during the day, and BritBox for some reason has skipped season 4. They don't have season 4 of Bergerac on their service. Now, I'm pretty sure that's not a rights issue. I bet you it's just like data entry issue because, I've worked at TV stations before. That's usually what the problem is. And they don't have anyone manning their social media outlet because I tweeted at them and got no reply. So anyway, I've stopped watching Bergerac because I can't just stop. I can't just jump from 3 to 5 when Louise Jameson is on the show. I got to watch 4. I got to see who's in 4. And
is there no other way to watch season 4?
Yeah, but it's effort. That's effort. I just
Stephen, so you don't feel too bad. You're not the only obsessive here. Made in Canada, which is a 90s sitcom done by Rick Mercer and a couple other people. I think his partner wrote on it too.
Right.
And it's kind of where they got their start, more or less. And it's all about the Canadian TV industry, and it is shockingly accurate. But there are 5 seasons of it. Only 2 of them are on CBC Gem. As far as I know, CBC made this show. Wow. So I emailed CBC and said, where are the 3 seasons? And guess what response I got? Absolutely sweet diddly nothing.
Oh,
right?
man.
And if you want to go and do it the somewhat quasi-illegal way, you can't find it. Nobody's got torrents of this, so oh well.
It's tough. It's basically Canadian TV is missing TV. If you don't see it anywhere, just assume it's been wiped forever. Although they don't wipe their shows. They just hang on to them.
Yeah. The end of the second season, somehow Moses Nymerk, the guy playing himself, cons the character into going to Colombia or somewhere in the States or somewhere in South America for some city TV expansion. And that's where I'm left hanging for a 30-odd-year-old show that I could probably find out what happened by reading Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So it's the first 2 seasons are there, but not the last 3?
The first 2 seasons are all there, but not the last 3.
That's so weird. That's so weird.
I wonder if it's because they probably shot it. I don't think they shot most of it in Toronto. I think it was one of those first Atlantic Canada shows. So it might have been Salter Street or somebody else that they were working with, and the rights are up in the air. Who knows?
Salter Street. Oh, the Canadian content, folks. You have no idea about these shows or these production outfits, but we sure do.
It's got a great line where they're trying to sell one of their crappy shows, and they go out of their way to say how crappy their shows are. And he's talking to some German producer. He's like, "We're first rate and making third rate content." I'm like, "Oh my god, that's the perfect line for Canadian TV."
But you have no idea, folks. You have no idea outside of Canada, and indeed, younger than 40 years old, what we're talking about. But rest assured, it's
you
gold.
You miss nothing. Nothing.
You've just heard gold. Let's talk about some stuff that's coming out from the BBC and get on to that there Doctor Who panel. Doctor Who and the Galaxy illustrated edition of the original novelization. It's an illustrated edition of the book, which is with a forward by Neil Gaiman and everything. It's coming out on November 3rd. Is it like a comic book? Is it like what is this?
No, it's just an adaptation or rejiggering of the
kind of like a kid's
1964 book, just with illustrations.
With illustrations by Robert
and
Hack,
an introduction by Neil Gaiman.
And an introduction by Neil Gaiman. That's who's everywhere. I mean, they're just making TV shows of literally every single property he's ever written, and good for him. But yeah, this is rather intriguing. It's coming out November 3rd, as I said. So pre-order links in the show notes if you want to get it. In the UK so far right now, I don't know if it's going to be available in other parts of the world, but they usually are. These things usually are. So So that's pretty cool. Also, some couple of River Song related Big Finish stuff. A friend of the family, Die River Song, is out on January 2023. You can pre-order that. And out right now is Two Rivers and a Firewall. That's
Great title.
It is good title from Big Finish. So featuring River Song and Autons and a whole host of various people. So there you go. Big Finish stuff. And lastly, some sad news. Nichelle Nichols. This feels like a while ago, but it happened probably on Monday, I think.
I think so.
Oh, after we recorded and stuff.
Sunday.
She passed away. Sunday, she passed away at the age of 89. Of course, famous for being Uhura in Star Trek. You two cats are the classic Star Trek series fans, so she most likely meant a lot to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Not
looking
me.
at an autograph picture right now.
Chris,
Wow, Chris.
indifferent, unmoved by.
No. I'm
Okay,
not,
Chris,
I'm
you
not
go
an
first
original.
then.
I'm not an original series fan.
Oh, okay.
Never have
Okay,
been.
well, I am a original
Yeah.
series fan, and yeah, I'm looking at an autograph picture that I got from her when I met her very briefly at Galley a few years ago, probably 2018, 2017.
Yeah.
And yeah, like she's not only was she a really cool part of the cast, so they didn't do it anywhere near as much as they should have. I guess for the time, for the 60s, they did, but whatever, that's kind of an excuse. But also, like after she was in Star Trek, she was like a crusader for NASA amongst other things. So yeah, she did a whole bunch of stuff besides Star Trek. Most of it not acting related, but honestly, that's better than acting.
Right.
So, but also like a total pioneer, like told by Martin Luther King, stay on this show because you want to leave.
Yeah, I mean, my original series Star Trek are the movies, and which I love, and the scene from Star Trek 3 when she dresses down that young security guard and stuff, just one of my favorite scenes in all of Star Trek.
Mr. Adventure eating out of the palm of my hand.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of writing her out of the movie at that point, which is sort of annoying, frankly. And even at the time, I was like, why is Uhura not in more of this? But that is a good scene.
Yeah, she was great. She was great. Chris, do you have any? I mean, you didn't like original series, but you like the movies like I did, right? Didn't you?
Yep. Yeah, because that was current for us at our ages.
At the time.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have the investment that some people did, but I'm very cognizant of the positive impact she had for a lot of people, and it's definitely a big loss.
Yeah. Very sad.
So it's really, what's doubly sad is all the struggles she's had in recent years as well, with like
that's true too.
her finances and people trying to steal her money and stuff like that. And that's just not cool.
That's not cool. Damn it.
And this is kind of like the whole Doctor Who thing. If you watch a show long enough, and I think Walter Koenig, George Takei, and unfortunately William Shatner are still around. So but I think that's it as far as I
Warren wishes William Shatner death.
Well, I don't so much wish him death as I would mourn him the least. Let's put it that way.
Jeez.
George Takei, pouring several out. Walter Koenig, probably the same. Yeah, Shatner, not so much.
George Takei. Yeah.
I screw everything.
I know
sorry,
you do.
George Takei.
That's right.
No malice is intended.
No. Nichelle Nichols died at 89. That's it for our news. After the very short break, it's our panel from Chicago Fan Expo. What's to come in the 60th anniversary? Enjoy.
Hello, everyone. Yay! Hi. Welcome to this. This is a panel about Doctor Who. That's it. No, 60th anniversary and beyond. My name's Kyle Anderson. I'm a senior editor of Nerdist. I also host a number of Doctor Who podcasts, as that will be a running theme on the panel. Doctor Who: The Writer's Room, all about the writing, and 5 Years Rapid, all about the Third Doctor. And I was the co-host, along with this gentleman, of the third season of The Memory Cheats. This person right next to me, who hosts The Memory Cheats, as well as Radio Free Skaro, Lazy Doctor Who, and I don't know, a bunch of other stuff. Stephen Chapansky, everybody.
And season 4 of The Memory Cheats.
When and if that ever happens.
I'm calling Kyle on it now.
Okay.
2023.
Here we go. Mark your calendars now.
Yeah.
Next to Steven is a host of the Verity podcast, as well as Lazy Doctor Who and the Incomparable Network, and just a bunch of other stuff. Erika Ensign, everybody.
Hello.
And at the end, we have an actual professor of things from DePaul University.
No podcasts, though.
No podcasts. But he does teach Doctor Who at DePaul University, among other things. We have Paul Booth, everybody. All right. So there's a lot to talk about with the 60th, and also we don't know anything. This is where we're at.
Well, very little.
We know a few things, but we're going to wildly speculate, as is the most fun thing you can do. Yes?
I have secrets.
Are you going to share these secrets?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Well, here's what we know so far. So we know that Jodie Whittaker's final episode is going to air this October as part of the centenary of the BBC. It's going to be 90 minutes, which we just found out yesterday, I think, via RTD himself.
Which is the longest episode, right?
Yes.
That has ever been.
That has ever been, yes.
Not counting the TV movie.
Correct.
Not counting the TV.
That's true.
No, the TV movie's 86 minutes.
86 and a half minutes.
86 and a half.
We'll see.
Sit corrected.
Oh, let's get
Get
really
your timers
into it.
out.
Yeah, actually, if you factor in the PAL versus NTS.
Oh boy. We also know that Ncuti Gatwa is going to be the next full-time Doctor.
Full-time doctor.
But chiefly, he has never once been called the 14th Doctor. This is thing one, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, he has been called the 14th Doctor by several news outlets that possibly didn't know what they were talking about.
That's true. Mm-hmm. But the BBC itself, and chiefly Russell T. Davies, has never once called him the 14th Doctor.
The people who know what they're talking about have not said 14.
We also know that David Tennant and Catherine Tate, the actors, are going to appear in the 60th anniversary series of specials, perhaps.
As opposed to David Tennant and Catherine Tate, the characters?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
We don't know.
It's a mind robber situation.
Yeah, it could be anything, really. I'm going to read this quote. This is from when they announced that David Tennant and Catherine Tate were going to be on in the 60th, which quickly preceded a bunch of pictures of them on set. RTD shared this. Maybe this is a missing story or a parallel world or I can't read my own writing. Or a dream, or a trick, or a flashback. The only thing I can confirm is that it's going to be spectacular as two of our greatest stars reunite for the battle of a lifetime. Two of our greatest stars, not two of our greatest characters. Interesting. Suspicious. We also know that actress Yasmin Finney is going to play a character named Rose. Yes.
Certain news outlets said Rose Tyler, and that was not correct.
That was also not correct.
But he has, Russell has said that, has referred to another Rose. Like, why is there another Rose?
Yes.
So he's making a connection there.
Yeah. I mean, you can't
not make.
You can't call someone Rose. He just only has 4 names that he likes to use. I don't know. Let's go with Rose again.
It's true. If you look at his books, there's a lot of Tylers in those
Lots
books.
of Tylers. Yep. Lots of Smiths. Tons of that. We also know a couple of the directors for the 60th, which does kind of point to the fact that it's going to be more than one episode or more than one chunk of time.
Who are the directors, Kyle?
Well, the 2 that I know of, you got Rachel Talalay, who directed only the best episodes of Capaldi's era, as well as a new director to the show, Chana, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, Chana Button.
Well, now I think what I'm gathering.
What are you gathering?
With Chandy Button is I think she might have been called in to be the director on set because Rachel Talalay came down with COVID.
Oh, I see.
Shooting one of the episodes, I think the one with a person you're probably going to get to, maybe, Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
So I think she was on set to basically be an on-set presence directing things while Talalay was literally on Zoom directing,
she was directing remotely
from her from her quarantine. Yeah, she was tweeting this stuff. So that's
I see.
Yeah,
I see. Yeah. I've been off Twitter for a while.
Twitter, man,
it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then, those are basically all we know, with the exception of, as you just said, Neil Patrick Harris is also going to be in the special. And then they have tweeted out and shared 2 different images of him in 2 completely different outfits.
Yeah.
So we can speculate as to who he might be playing. What does all this mean? Panelists, tell me, what do you think?
Do we need to put a spoiler warning on this?
Is anybody, if this is true, it's a spoiler, but if it's not true, it's not a spoiler.
Are y'all okay with this? By the time these episodes actually air, will you have forgotten this panel ever existed? Nothing is set in stone yet.
That's
Right.
correct. Yes. I call these quantum spoilers.
Yeah.
They're only a spoiler if they are a spoiler.
Schrodinger's spoilers.
Yeah.
Yes.
So please.
So, so David Tennant is returning. I remember on Radio Free Skaro, my podcast, we talked about, because the rumors were out there, and we spent 20 minutes going, no, this is dumb. What a dumb rumor. Dumb. And then the next morning, a trusted source DMs me and says, David Tennant, it's all true. Apparently this has been in the works. Russell T. Davies said this in Doctor Who magazine. This has been in the works, him returning to Doctor Who since 2020, December 2020.
Oh boy.
That's a year and a half ago that this has been in the works.
Wow.
So it's, it's not a recent thing. It's quite fascinating.
He had time to get his hair back to normal.
Yeah.
We call it normal. Hair back to doctor shape. He's in all the pictures we've seen of him, he is wearing a completely different outfit to anything we've ever seen
He is.
a David Tennant doctor wear.
Yeah.
There is a speculation, which I think at this point seems fairly well founded, as far as I'm aware, that perhaps Jodie Whittaker does not transform into Shurigawa, and in fact has a regenerative crisis and turn into David Tennant again.
Tennant
Yes.
again.
Yeah. A crisis. Exactly.
crisis.
You'll notice that, again, I don't usually go on set reports, but I'm so intrigued by this new era. But the TARDIS that has been cited on set is Jodie Whittaker's TARDIS. It's not David Tennant's old TARDIS. It's a direct continuation. Either whether that means it's, oh my God, we're having a sort of a flashback regeneration, I don't know. Whether it means that Tom Baker's throwaway line of, you'll find yourself revisiting the old faces, but just the old favorites. Is that the thing that's sort of happening? I don't know that either, but yeah.
I feel like that was just a throwaway line in the 50th anniversary, and I'm sure Russell was just like, yes, let's do it.
Just like 13 Regenerations was back in The Deadly Assassin in 1976.
What else?
Is it possible that she will not just become David Tennant, but cycle through other doctors?
Whoa.
In a timeless children kind of going back through the history. I'm not saying it's gonna happen.
These are all things
these are things that could happen. I have to say something just out of the context of what we're talking about. We're talking so much about the 60th. We're ignoring her final episode.
This is true.
Which
It's
I think
partially the BBC's fault.
which is entirely the BBC's fault for completely not advertising it.
Yeah. The reason we're so excited about the 60th right now is because we know things about the 60th. The only thing we know about Jodie Whittaker's final special is that it's her final
And then it's
special.
90 minutes.
And it was,
And then it's 90 minutes.
and it was the next showrunner who spoiled that.
Did you see the BBC The One show yesterday? I think it was, and they had Russell T Davies on in the final few minutes, and they were asking about so Doctor Who says, oh yeah, Shurigawa on this, oh yeah, we're shooting and everything like that, but really I'm afraid of overshadowing Jodie Whittaker's life. Like he keeps saying that he's afraid
has to be
of
aware.
overshadowing.
He's trying so hard.
Tried not to be the PR person for both eras of Doctor Who, but let's face it, people have sort of moved on from, because they finished production.
Right now, he's the only PR person for Doctor Who.
Exactly. So he's,
Well, and Chris Chibnall was never good at PR.
No.
He never hyped it up, which you need to do because the BBC's not going to do it for you.
Well, the first Comic-Con that after they announced Jodie Whittaker, they had the whole cast and everything, or most of the cast, and they didn't say anything. They didn't show anything. It was. And it was just indicative of the rest of the era, which is that it's going to air when it airs, and you're going to watch it. And that's basically he's daring us to be excited about it. So yes, if we are to believe that the Tennant that we are seeing is in fact the middle Doctor, the 13 and a half Doctor or whatever.
Or 14th, depending on...
Or the 14th, everyone is we care so much about numbers.
I want to get rid of them all. That's my plan.
Well, there's already a wrong thing, because they shoehorned the War Doctor, and one of the great new additions to the thing, but it's then the numbers go out the window.
And also the David Tennant Hand Doctor
that's
now
technically
apparently counts, so we're way
12th
off.
We're actually up to the 15th or 16th. Let's not forget Peter Cushing.
I'm okay forgetting Peter
the half Doctor.
Love Peter Cushing. Never say a bad word about Peter Cushing. But then Catherine Tate is going to be in it. So is this? Are we to believe that this is in fact Donna Noble, who we know? What do y'all think about? Because I would be sad if it weren't, but
I feel like it's easier narratively to have David Tennant be somebody else than it is to have Catherine Tate be somebody else. I mean, not that there aren't a ton of people who have, twins that aren't their twins in classic Doctor Who, but I want it to be Catherine Tate, and I want to fix her ending and give her freaking memories back, and maybe have her yell at the Doctor a little bit for, hey, you shouldn't have done that. You did not have consent, sir.
Well, I don't know if that might happen. I was there was a Zoom seminar put on by Triple C, they're like a disabled representation outfit in the UK, and they put on a Zoom like seminar with Russell T Davies. There he was on Zoom for an hour and a half, and I watched it and everything. And the second half was all questions, and someone actually asked, "Do you think sort of like walked away? Do you think you maybe misrepresented Donna? Like maybe you might regret something about endings of characters and something?" And he didn't really offer any answer on being regretful about how he handled it. So
he has misled us about so many things. That means nothing.
Either he's misled us, or he also said in that same one that it was Andy Pryor, the casting director, who pushed super hard for a black actor to be the next Doctor. He was sort of like, well, let's find the best actor that we can and see what happens. So that I feel he was honest about.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's also giving somebody else props, which is something Russell T Davies has always been good about, giving credit where it's due, and Andy Pryor is a really good casting director, so that makes sense.
I've also heard and read a lot of things about this other Rose character perhaps being
Donna's daughter?
Donna's daughter, which I think would be pretty cool as sort of like a tribute to the person the 10th Doctor wouldn't shut up about.
Yep. And I mean, the fact that, Donna doesn't have her memories, so the 10th Doctor not shutting up about Rose, it probably sunk into her subconscious, so even though she doesn't actually remember what she did hanging out with the 10th Doctor, that name probably stayed real, surfaced a lot in her mind. So it's Rose. Oh, that's a nice name. Yeah. Let's name our daughter Rose.
It also is just a nice name.
It is a nice name.
But so, if it is in fact Donna, and I hope it is, we were all on board there, obviously her brain probably won't explode. How do you think that
would be
amazing?
Just in the first instant, you just see her
what a freak out to have Donna shows up for 30 seconds and her head explodes.
We could only get Catherine Tate for an hour, so...
The entire hour of which was documented in those set photos that people took.
Yep, that's it.
Are you okay with that kind? I mean, obviously that's what Doctor Who is all about, but that sort of hand wavy stuff. There's been so many times when this character can never come back. Here's a reason why they can come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's Doctor Who in a nutshell.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Yeah.
Yep. Except Adric. Adric will never come back.
But I agree with Erika that I think that it's important to not ignore what happened to Donna. I think I do think that's important. I'm okay if Donna comes back and they just hand wave it with some gobbledygook. Oh, the meta crisis has made you immune to all of this or whatever. But they need to do something.
Yep. Or I'm also fine if it's not Donna. I'd rather it be Donna, but if Catherine Tate said, no, I'd like to play another character, and that was the way to get her back, I will still enjoy watching it because Catherine Tate is a delightful actor, and she's just really, really fun to watch with David Tennant, no matter what they're doing.
Yeah. One of her sketch comedy characters, it's Lauren Cooper or something like that, grown-up Lauren Cooper.
Right.
Remember that show? Anyway.
Nope.
It could be when David Tennant did the children the Red Nose special, right, where he was the professor and she was the student.
Yeah.
And it's those two characters.
I mean, I'd be into that.
Yeah.
I would not.
I'd watch the hell out of that.
David Tennant's new costume rules, I have to say.
It's great.
I think
it's like sort of a blue not denim, but it's a different material coat, and then the checked suit that I saw.
I'm a huge fan of checked pants. That's a callback to your little second Doctor feel.
I think it's sort of actively trying to mix a bunch of different Doctor kind of looks together. I think it's tweedy, a little bit too. So I love that stuff.
The silhouette is similar, but it's a different costume. That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
That he's the 10th Doctor, but not quite.
But he's having a good hair day as opposed to in the 50th where it was he was asleep.
It's flat,
So let's talk about the Neil Patrick Harris-ness of it all. The first image they showed was him sort of looking like an old, like Geppetto, honestly.
There we go.
Which led a lot of people to think he was the Celestial Toymaker. No one has seen all of the Celestial Toymaker in 60 almost years.
Pretty much.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, it's pretty racist. But the character being like this old trickster god, I think, could be really cool. And then the next photo they showed was him in sort of like, I don't even know what, like
Willy Wonka.
Yeah, Willy Wonka, sort of like Edwardian kind of.
Is it that? It's almost like a Joel Grey and Cabaret kind of like the creepy face paint sort of thing.
So we have the one thing a lot of people are thinking, which is that he is the Celestial Toymaker. Do you would you like that? Do you think that that's probably the case? Would it? What do you think?
In those costumes, yes.
Yes.
Yes, I don't want to go back to the Celestial Toymaker sort of samurai style outfit. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But because it's racist. I like Neil Patrick Harris as an actor, and I feel like everything I've seen him do is like even very different styles of things has been really fun. And I think, the trickster god type of character is something that he would be great at, because he could play both sides of it, the solemn and stern sort of side, and also the like, I'm doing it with wink sort of a thing. He's great at both of those things.
Yeah, he was really good on the series of Unfortunate Events on Netflix. If anybody watched that, he played Count Olaf. It's really good. And he also, in every story, he dresses up as somebody else to kind of get these kids. It's a pretty dark kids show, actually, but it's really great. And that kind of was like, that must have been other than just the fact that Neil Patrick Harris is a good actor and sort of can do whatever, but like playing a bad guy for however many episodes that was is like, I'm sure they were like, hey, he'd be good with this. And it's also a pretty big get for the show.
Yeah, I look forward to whatever tell-all book that comes out after the next era of Doctor Who, finding out, like, did they go after him, or is he a Doctor Who fan that we didn't know about and he was interested in it?
Wasn't he in It's a Sin? He
was.
He was in Russell Davies' It's a Sin.
Yeah.
He was like it wasn't a major part, but so that may have been help.
Someone else we know is a Doctor Who fan from other set photos is Ryan Gosling, who is wearing an unofficial bootleg Shooty Goblet Doctor
which you can
Who
get
shirt.
now.
Yep.
You can?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. I saw it on one of my feeds. I know. Well, and they'll sell anything.
I hope he really, truly is a Doctor Who fan, and he wasn't just giving it.
He was in the Barbie movie with Shooty Gatwa.
True.
So probably the announcement came out while they were shooting the Barbie film, so it's possible that he was just like, dude, I am having a shirt made of your face as Doctor Who. He might not know anything about the show, but I hope he does.
I hope he does. I hope he does now. I hope he goes and watches all 60 years of it.
Ryan Gosling is just sitting there watching Creature from the Pit, crying into his cereal.
But what's he crying about? That's the real mystery. What else have y'all heard about the 60th? Steven, I know you have some stuff.
Well,
please share some beats.
Yeah, you said you had secrets. I've been 15, 20 minutes with no secrets.
Well, not too many. I'm more confirming rumors than anything. One is that, again, spoilers for set reports and stuff like that. I hope you're okay with that. Got your consent. Okay. Is that one of the episodes, the first one they shot, or maybe it was the second one, is a straight-up adaptation of a comic strip that featured in Doctor Who magazine in 1979 called Doctor Who and the Star Beast, starring Beep the Meep, a little creature or something that looks like sort of Baby Yoda, except he's white and fuzzy, but he turns out to be a big villain. This is what happens in the comic. I've never read the comic. Paul, you did many moons ago.
I have read the comic when I was younger, and I remember loving it because Beep the Meep is this cute little cat creature. And then when turns out that Beep the Meep is a villain, it's like, for I was 13 or 14, blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like, what? Cute things can't be evil.
Yep.
So turns out they can.
I find that's intriguing because, for all of Doctor Who's history, they've rarely gone back and, dug into their comic book history. I can think of the Dalek ship design that is now like basically entrenched in the new series, modern series, I gotta call it. It's not new anymore. Is from a Dalek comics from the 1960s, from TV21 Comics, I think it is. So that's about the only time that I can think of that they've overtly taken from the comics.
They've adapted a couple, haven't they?
For Big Finish.
Oh yeah,
right?
but not for the televised show.
Big Finish will
Big
adapt.
Finish mines everything, and we love it.
Everything, yeah.
I'm pretty sure The Lodger and Blink were both comics, weren't they?
They were short stories.
Short stories.
Short
okay.
stories.
I knew they were
Entirely different.
What?
Kyle.
Hey, listen.
Entirely different.
They're all things I don't read. So, yeah, I think that's a cool idea. Like, because that's like deep history. Because you know there was so much of the lore and everything was brought forth for the 50th.
Right.
It's like, what else do you do 10 years later? Let's go to the comic books. Some of the ancillary material.
I saw a tweet that was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this," and it was a set photo of Beat the Meep, I guess. And I'm looking at the picture, going, "Oh my God, I have no idea what it is that they are doing." And I had to do some research to find out what the heck Beat the Meep was in the first place. Which is, I think that's super fun, because not only do you have almost 60 years of televised stuff to dive into, which they've been doing a great job of, but, you know, the Big Finish and the books and the comics, which tends to get forgotten. I know I forget about the comics probably more often than any of the other media, so it's kind of cool that, you know, maybe it will actually bring some spotlight to it, and people will go back and check that out the same way that some Modern Who fans go back and check out the classic series.
Have those like really old comic strips? I know some of the like the Baker Forward ones have, but like the really, really old ones, have those been collected anywhere? Because I would love to watch.
The Beat the Meep one, I remember I read as part of a collection.
Okay.
I don't know if it goes back further than that.
That's a good question.
But
I think there's a huge hardcover book that collects like basically all of them, but don't quote me on that for sure. But I seem to remember somebody that I know getting really excited about that.
You're asking about like the pre-Doctor Who magazine comics.
Yeah, like TV21 and stuff like that.
TV21, like basically back since 1963 or 4. I don't think so, at least not to my knowledge. Not any official. Get on it, Titan Comics. We want to see.
Well, and those original comics were bought by Marvel, so that makes Doctor Who part of the Marvel universe.
Right.
It's true.
So there's no reason
everything's owned by Disney.
Pop up
Everything's owned by Disney.
Thor: Love and Thunder. So.
Right.
Yeah. Which, spoilers, doesn't.
Oh, well.
Sorry,
You
everyone.
saved me $17.
I keep going to those Marvel movies, hoping the Doctor will show up.
It can. Ultraman, also now part of the Marvel universe.
Ultraman. Tell us about Ultraman, Kyle.
That's all right.
All right, fine.
I mean, huh?
It's
Ultraman. Everyone, watch Ultraman. It's great.
He loves Ultraman.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, so that's Beat the Meep. That's a pretty big one.
Beat the Meep. It might have been a different episode than the, let's call it the Toymaker episode. Spoiler alert, there's a big sign on the location show that said Toymaker on it. So I thought, oh no, it's not the Toy... Oh, it says Toymaker.
If it literally says Toymaker.
Literally
then
hundreds
again, Russell T. Davis, being who he is, could have planted a sign that says Toymaker, and he's and Neil Patrick Harris is a completely different character, because that's the kind of troll he is.
Imagine if that would be cool if they did that. If they actually planted a proper prop or set on location, and then they just CG'd it out after the fact.
Which they could easily do.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It's like, I mean, how much of this? I mean, you've had sources confirm some of this stuff, but like, how much of it are we supposed to just take as a fact at this point? Because they could do any number of those things. It could be another version of the Master. I don't think it will.
I don't think it will be. No, that seems too.
I really kind of hope not.
Yeah. Let the Master.
Master
hang out for a while.
The Master is best when there's like a break in between.
Yeah.
I mean, none of this is fact until it actually shows up.
That's true.
Right? And they could change their mind. That's the thing. Like, we don't, halfway through filming, they could be like, oh, well, let's re-edit it and
right,
and dub it and make it.
And then you get Legend of the Sea Devils. I know it's
They could completely.
And it worked out great. So
I think they could cut out 15 minutes, and the story would make no sense.
Yeah,
that very memorable episode.
Yeah.
So we have a full year or more until at least the actual anniversary is still a year and a bit away.
Yeah.
And we know it's going to be multiple episodes. We don't know if only David Tennant and Catherine Tate are going to be in it, because there's still a year left that they could film stuff. What do we think or know about any of the other Doctors? I don't think Christopher Eccleston would be caught dead on a set at this point, but maybe Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi. Capaldi has sort of said he doesn't think that's all that cool, but doesn't mean he's not going to do it.
Super busy right now too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only in DC movies and directing stuff.
Smith might do it.
I think he should do it.
I think he should.
It'd be fun.
I mean, it's also been 10 years, so that's a good time for him.
That's
to come
why.
out.
I mean, I understand how numbers work and time and everything, but
I don't.
but it is wild to think that he stopped being the Doctor 10 years ago, or coming up on 10
Basically
years
a
ago.
quarter of his life ago. He's only 40. He's 40 in October, is Matt Smith.
It hits me. It hits me very much when I teach my Doctor Who class, because when the students come in, I say, who's your favorite Doctor? Who do you grow up with? And it went from being Matt Smith to now like Peter Capaldi, because they are all 18. So they started watching Doctor Who when they were 8. And Matt Smith was regenerating at that point. Yeah, it's crazy. It makes me feel really old. I love it.
It's fascinating when you look at the whenever they announced Neil Patrick Harris, Yasmin Finney, Tennant, Tate, they would always go, they are currently filming scenes for the 60th anniversary. They never said how many episodes or anything like that. From my trusted source, just today, he said a rumor, so this is just him reporting a rumor to me. But the rumor apparently now is that the first episode will actually be airing New Year's Day 2023.
Oh, that's very close.
So
Really?
rumor, I don't know if that's an actual factual thing or if they're going to build up to the 60th anniversary with 3 episodes throughout. Because when you think about it, happy 60th anniversary, there's nothing on until November of this year. Also, I mean, this is from another trusted source, just so you know.
A different trusted
source. That the BBC were not happy with Chris Chibnall.
Shocking.
Yeah, the rumors about him being ousted after season 1 were a little closer to truth than I think I believed at the time. And I think he was prepared to basically, let's cast the next Doctor and continue going. And the BBC were saying, no, we want people who actually make more Doctor Who like we wanted you to. And so I don't think the BBC has waiting for 13 months after Jodie Whittaker's last episode in mind to launch another era of Doctor Who. So I see the logic in it airing on New Year's Day and then maybe another one and then the 60th anniversary.
They've said there's going to be special for the 60th anniversary. There have been rumors that there are going to be 3 episodes for a long time. That's not something that's been confirmed, but it's been a rumor for so long. Trusted source, yes. And I feel like, okay, so the 60th anniversary is a day. That's November 23rd. And you're not going to drop 3 episodes on the same day. This isn't Netflix, it's the BBC and Bad Wolf. And so my thought is that it makes perfect sense to spread those out to celebrate, because otherwise, if you're going to spread them out, why would you spread them out starting on the 60th and then later? Because then you're waiting all that time.
And you look back at 2013 when the 50th is that they effectively had, starting with the Snowmen, essentially, an entire half of a calendar year to set up the 50th anniversary, and it all kind of pays off, and then they had to finish off Matt Smith. So it was basically end of 2012 into 2013 was basically the Matt Smith farewell tour, and that's what you want. You don't want just this one. I feel like, because Chibnall is sort of, a deficient showrunner, he's doing a disservice to a good character he's created and a bunch of good characters he's created, because he's just being well, we're going to do even fewer episodes this time, and now there's an episode we cut to pieces, and then she's going to regenerate it in October, and it's just what was this? This was nothing.
I mean, COVID did not do him any favors.
No, certainly not.
To be fair,
we can't blame him entirely.
No.
But we can blame him a little.
Yeah.
I mean, the first 2 series for sure.
It would also if this hasn't been confirmed anywhere either, but we're all just sort of expecting, because Russell T Davies mentioned, there totally should be a Doctor Who cinematic universe. Nyssa should have her own series, and
Nyssa should have her own
there should
series.
be and so we've taken that and just run with it. They're just waiting for apparently this mystical Doctor Who expanded universe, so to speak. But if you drop the first new RTD, the first Bad Wolf episode, we'll say, era episode on New Year's Day, you don't want to launch your universe with a side project, so to say.
Right.
It's the Paternoster game. Welcome to the Bad Wolf era.
Does everybody know what the Bad Wolf era means when Steven says that? You might want to explain.
I mean, Bad Wolf Studios, which are put with Jane Tranter and Julie Gardner.
Who will be making the show.
Yeah, who probably pitched the BBC back in 2020 and then brought RTD on board, and that's probably how this is all happening. So I'm calling it the Bad Wolf era because for the first time ever, Doctor Who is consistently being made by an outside company for the BBC, not BBC Studios or the BBC itself.
Yeah.
So it feels it's a brand new era. We're in a whole. I mean, it might be the same people running it and everything like that, but we're in new territory.
And certainly BBC, Doctor Who has always been the BBC's since it came back, or since it really hit in the States, like the big breadwinner for the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
But the BBC itself does not have the funds it used to have, and so it does need a sort of outside commercial arm to sort of bolster a lot of the production.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people have kind of been pointing to as well in the Chibnall era, is that like the fact that they don't have as much money has started to become more and more apparent as the Chibnall years have gone on.
And Bad Wolf recently got a nice influx of cash from Sony, so there might be some Sony dollars going into making Doctor Who, which would make it shinier.
Spider-Man will show up.
Spider-Man.
I just keep wanting to combine it with an MCU.
No.
But okay, so here's a real question.
All right.
Think of
from your
trusted source. Fake questions.
From your trusted source, is Russell going to stick around after the 60th? Because I mean, it is entirely possible he's going to do this and then skedaddle.
Oh no, I don't. I think, from what I gather, he just wants to have fun again. That's from a trusted source.
He's definitely been doing some very like hard-hitting dramas.
Exactly. This is pure speculation too, but I know that Russell lost his partner of many years to cancer a couple years ago, and he was going through a lot. Like you look at Years and Years and It's a Sin, and like those are some really dark, depressing things. And I think he literally just wants to have fun again. And I don't think he would come back just to sort of say, "Yep, that's it. I'm going to kill it now," or "I'm going to move on," or "I'm going to plant the seed."
It's to like start it up again and then hand it off to maybe a non-white male showrunner.
Right.
I could see that maybe happening after a season after the 3 specials. So you get the 60th anniversary, which like that's Doctor Who, but it's Doctor Who on steroids. It's a special thing. And then if he really does want to have fun, I mean, maybe he does just leave after that. That's possible. But I feel like he seems really excited about Ncuti Gatwa, and we don't know where or when Ncuti Gatwa is going to appear in these. Is it just like whoever the heck David Tennant is regenerates into Ncuti Gatwa at the end of the last one, at the end of the first episode, and then we have we don't know exactly how that's going to happen.
Doctor each time, I swear it's going to be a new Doctor each time. It's going to be Matt Smith, and then it's going to be.
I mean, it's possible, but for some reason my gut is telling me that Ncuti Gatwa will be after those, like towards the end.
I think so.
And then Ncuti Gatwa goes on to have an entire first season, and I don't know, it seems to me like maybe Russell T Davies would want to write that first season. Or showrun it.
Well,
we don't know.
We don't know. One would assume 2024.
Probably.
One would hope 2024.
Yeah. They're starting to shoot Ncuti Gatwa, from what I understand, in October.
Oh, cool.
Is what I understand. Also, Bad Wolf, and I guess Sony was involved, but His Dark Materials, a show I didn't watch.
Oh, it's really good.
But they shot that like a year and a half before it actually aired. They a lot of post-production time. So the fact that, it's like, oh, wow, if they start shooting in October, that means they'll be ready for July or something. That's not necessarily the case. It might take a long time for us to see Ncuti Gatwa's episodes.
Do we think / hope? I mean, I would certainly hope that we would get more episodes, or maybe fewer episodes, but more often. Do you know what I mean? Like 8 episodes, but consistently every year versus 10 whenever they feel like it. Was that something we would want, or do we want to go back to 13 a year the way it was during RTD1?
I would love for it to be however many episodes makes sense at the time. I don't necessarily need 8 episodes I want we're going to do 8 right now, and then not too long goes by, and this time we get 10, and then not too long goes by, maybe we only get 4 the next time, just depending on, I'm totally fine with them being more fluid about it and just, making what makes sense. If you can get some amazing actor, but they're only available to do 3 episodes of Doctor Who, jump on that and take it.
Yeah, like the David Tennant special thing does kind of open a door to be saying, like, we don't necessarily need to be sequential for Doctor Who anymore. We can do let's do a Paul McGann Time War
please.
Series.
Yes,
yes,
please.
Like in between Ncuti Gatwa series, we have this, or we have, because if you're a Star Wars fan, let's say if you're a Baby Yoda fan especially, you're not going to get The Mandalorian season 1 and then wait forever until season 2 comes along. No, you got The Mandalorian. Then you got the Book of Boba Fett. Then you got Obi-Wan. Then you got the Andor series. Then the Mandalorian comes around again. This is the benefit of the multiverse, is that you can sort of go. You can keep people's attention. You can keep subscribers too. That's the main reason. Let's face it. And I like your idea, Erika. You said this before about no longer numbering doctors. You just have this doctor and that doctor. One of the great, I hope they do this, is that one thing I liked about Doctor Who Flux is it was called Doctor Who Flux. It wasn't Doctor Who Season 13. It was Doctor Who : this. It's kind of like American Horror Story or the other anthology series, the Bly Manor ones.
Oh, the Haunting of?
Yeah, they're just sort of like self-contained things. Because let's face it, new fans probably look at Doctor Who and go, oh, cool, I'm going to check out this Doctor Who thing. Season 14.
Yeah.
Or the 14th Doctor.
I'm gonna watch 14 seasons to get. It's for us. We bathe in this stuff. We're used to it. But for a newcomer, it can be very, very daunting. And I hope that they sort of go against the season 14, 14th Doctor, that sort of thing. It makes it a little more accessible.
But on the flip side, I agree with you. But on the flip side, one of the things, and I actually really liked the Flux season. But I missed the weirdo episode that just is in the middle of the season and they ran out of money and they just had them running around.
Do they have those anymore?
That is Doctor Who to me.
Yeah.
And so having these very self-contained seasons, you miss out on the weirdness in some ways.
But if you had you could come up with a decent name for series 5. For example, because it's sort of the fairy tale season. You could give it a name, and you could still have those weird episodes in there. So as long as there's some sort of an arc that just even loosely, heck, you can call series 1 the Bad Wolf season, and
they
works.
do have names, right? There's Bad Wolf, there's Torchwood,
exactly.
Harold Saxon.
So it's more just branding it that way as opposed to having it be an encapsulated story that is just that and nothing else.
Yeah, and I feel like just the TV industry itself has moved on immensely, especially since R2D left. We barely had iPhones when Russell T Davies left.
Oh, wow.
Netflix was 4 years away. What's the Kevin Spacey show?
House of Cards.
House of Cards. 2012. That was the first original streaming series made. Now they're everywhere.
Yeah.
People they're not necessarily tuning into BBC on a Sunday night to watch Doctor Who. They're waiting for it to drop, and whatever. I got Lock and Key, and I got Shadow and Bone to watch first. Oh, this one, we'll watch it eventually.
Yeah.
And having this kind of one-off episodes, maybe it's working for Strange New Worlds, who are very much going against the grain when it comes to just dropping episodic television. But I think when Doctor Who has, let's face it, competitors now for people's attention and people's dollars.
But Strange New World works because they've also got Picard and Discovery.
Exactly.
They've covered all their bases.
There's something else.
And Lower Decks and a bunch of others.
Star Trek has actually done a really good job of diversifying its portfolio, if you want to call it that. Which
yes.
Doctor Who, and that brings us back to the kind of world of Doctor Who that we were talking about.
I am going to be watching the 60th specials with a really close eye because at first I did not want a Doctor Who expanded universe of television and spin-offs and stuff. My gut reaction was crusty old fangirl, no, I want my Doctor Who and I want it to be Doctor Who and I don't need anything else. And then I kind of thought about it and I realized it would be really cool to have some, side specials that aren't focused on a doctor, that are focused on somebody else, where you can use that as sort of a training ground for writers, directors, showrunners who haven't maybe had the opportunities at the BBC to do stuff because of, whatever reasons. And, we could get a little more diversity behind the camera, behind the pen, and then move those folks into, the flagship show that has the doctor in it. So I'm going to be watching the 60th very closely to see that throw-off comment that Russell T Davies made about a series for Nyssa. Still holding out for that. But and other things, will he be even planting seeds for potential spin-offs? Am I going to see any side characters that seem really, really charismatic? And am I going to expect to see them to come back? So that's something that I'm going to be watching with an eye to. Just is he not only giving us a 60th celebration, but planting the seeds for a lot of stuff that he might want to have come in the future?
And I think it's also kind of talking about what we're saying is that they're seeing that how many more people who have HBO Max are watching Doctor Who, and specifically the more recent Whittaker years, on HBO Max once they arrive, rather than even when they're on BBC America, because that is, it's a lower tier cable channel, or upper tier. How do you want to?
A more expensive tier for a lot of people.
On that note, I feel like BBC America's time doing anything with Doctor Who is really coming to an end.
Yeah.
I get I don't know where the home of Doctor Who is going to be. It might be HBO Max.
I feel like HBO Max.
Yeah.
Like
We've already got the
BritBox,
archive
if they
seasons,
can bring
right?
it into BritBox.
That's kind of small potatoes, I think.
It is it is small potatoes,
no
but I'm
offense.
saying that's where it might be going.
I think it's HBO Max. They've already got after a 6-month wait, is it?
Yep.
Yeah, in
Which
Canada
is
we don't have HBO Max. Look at that. Yeah, I know, right? So
But you have a Tim Hortons. So
Yeah.
it's okay.
yeah.
What is the streaming service that Doctor Who is on for you guys?
It's called Crave.
Crave.
Crave, Crave. It is associated with CTV Sci-Fi, which is a terrible name for a sci-fi channel.
It's a conglomerate.
There's CTV Sci-Fi, CTV this, CTV that. It's awful. But Crave is we get a lot of the HBO Max things on Crave, but not all of them, because licensing internationally is a mess. But yeah, so it does drop on Crave. Crave is also where we have all of our Star Trek shows.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Even though Paramount Plus is in Canada,
Yeah, Paramount
they don't
Plus
have the rights to Star Trek.
Exists in Canada, but they don't have the rights to their own Star Trek shows.
Oh, international rights, everyone.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's
do a panel on
That's
that
its
next.
own panel.
Next panel is canceled. We're talking about international distribution.
I'm 100% here for that.
Yeah.
Well, we only have a couple minutes left, but before we wrap up, I just want, what is the thing from, if they're going to do outrageous stuff from the past of Doctor Who in the 60th, what would you like to see?
You got one? I don't know if I do.
I only do just because it made me think of it, because we keep saying Nyssa deserves her own special. I want Nyssa to come back, and I want her to get her own special.
She should.
Yep, that's my thing.
Steven.
I like nothing. I think the idea of you
were just shirking the fun of the question.
I think the fun is that, like, we often say, well, obviously, like the three Doctors in 1973 sort of like conditioned us to expect multi-Doctor episodes for every anniversary. Now we said, we got to bring them all back. They had all three in there, and then they had all five, more or less, in the 5 Doctors.
3.5.
3.5, because one of them was dead, they had to replace him. Anyway, and then we had glimpses of all of them in the Day of the Doctor, so we got to have all the. I kind of like the idea of just having we bring one Doctor back, we have little hat tips, and that's it. Yeah, not necessarily go like out and until the 100th anniversary, and then everyone's like a Luke Skywalker and the Mandalorian callback, CG version of themselves, circa their middle seasons of Doctor Who.
That was a very good, but I didn't like your answer.
That's right. That's right.
Please go ahead, Paul.
I don't like you.
I mean, you're asking someone who is desperate to see the Merca come back. So.
Me too. Okay, can I change my answer?
Merca.
Did we see it in Legend of the Sea Devils? I'm saying we did. The big giant CGs.
They didn't call it the Merca.
I called it the Merca.
I called it the
We
Merca
all
in my
called it
head.
the Merca.
But in all seriousness, I would be really excited to see K9. I would be.
Yeah.
Same.
And I'm really, I guess that's the not the 60th, but the Jodie Whittaker's. I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing them do something different than what I've seen before, which is what the thing I love most about Doctor Who is. I don't always love what they do, but I love that it's not something that I've seen before.
I want everything to be in black and white for a while.
Yes.
I'm in.
All right. Thank you all so much for listening to us rattle on about Doctor Who. Quickly plug your podcast so people can find them.
Radio Free Skaro, the Memory Cheats with Kyle coming back in 2023, baby, where we're going to be dumping on the Chris Chibnall era, and then also Lazy Doctor Who with my spouse Erika.
Yes, Lazy Doctor Who with Steven, Verity podcast. That's it for Doctor Who podcast, but I also do a Winona Earp podcast and a hockey podcast and a game show podcast with Trivial Pursuit, and probably 4 other things that I have forgotten right now.
TPK.
Dungeons and Dragons, Total Party Kill.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Start a podcast, Paul. And you can find my podcast, Doctor Who, The Writer's Room, and Doctor Who, Memory Cheats, Season 3, and also, Doctor Who 5 Years Rapid about the 3rd Doctor. Thank you all so much. Please enjoy the rest of your...
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Duggan.
I hope you enjoyed that. It was a convention. It was interesting. You could probably tell that Eric and I were mastering the whole time. We tested it before and afterwards just to make sure that we were okay. But yeah, it felt weird going into a massive event like that without no one's really wearing masks and no one's checking for vaccine passports and stuff.
America.
A little bit. I mean, Comic-Con had had
true.
masks and vaccines proof and stuff, but Fan Expo did not. Not sure what they're going to be doing at Edmonton Fan Expo's next month.
Nothing, I'm sure.
No.
Yeah, I gotta give Comic-Con.
Yeah,
I gotta give Comic-Con credit for that. They did a very good job from everything I've seen. So
yeah. No Doctor Who guests announced for Edmonton Fan Expo. If there are going to be, well, maybe we'll go. If not, probably not. Even though
what about Bergerac stars? Any Bergerac stars showing up?
I don't know. John Nettles, does he do the convention circuit? I'm not too sure if he does or not.
Well, I saw that Ming-Na Wen canceled her.
She did,
actually several con appearances in general, but
Yeah.
specifically her Edmonton one.
Maybe she just sort of said, "The hell with this. What am I here for?"
I can't say I blame her at this point.
But at least we have all the Kevin Smith crew, except very little of Kevin Smith because he's actually going to Vancouver for the road show for Clerks 3.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Is that why they're doing? There's a whole bunch of Clerks.
Here's
stuff.
how much I care. Very little.
Yeah. Well, they don't care about you, Warren. So
good. That worked out wonderful for everybody.
Feelings mutual. Next week is our anniversary week, if you can believe it. This podcast you're listening to will turn 16 years old next week, August 15th.
Inappropriate party of some sort.
Yeah, well, the inappropriate party is the return of Doctor Who trivia. Not Doctor Who Trivial Pursuit, but the Doctor Who, the official Doctor Who quiz book from 2014 is written by Jacqueline Rayner. We're going to be culling questions from that and playing trivia. Not just, I'll be the quiz master because I own the book and I went through and looking for the questions. So it'll be very inappropriate for me to try and answer questions that I've already seen the answers to. But Erika and Kat from Verity podcast will be joining us and participating in the quiz next
kicking
week.
our asses, I'm betting.
Maybe. Listen, who knows? I went through the book. I was looking through all the different categories. I mean, this is kind of a pilot episode. We'll see how this works because I think we've sort of more or less blown through all of our Doctor Who Trivial Pursuit questions. And these are better researched questions. Jacqueline Rayner is an accomplished Doctor Who author. So, yeah, the questions are pretty good. So we'll see how everyone does next week as we play trivia to celebrate our 16th anniversary.
One of the biggest things, like going through the Nigel Robinson 80s quiz books, one of the biggest issues there is just how old they are. And this Jack Rayner quiz book is from 2014. So
yeah,
it's just coming up on 8 years out of date. So it's it might be difficult to cast our minds back quite that far.
Is it though?
This is gonna be like pre-Capaldi basically. So.
Yeah, Capaldi was announced, but no episodes have been aired. So yeah,
other than Day of the Doctor.
Yeah, the Doctor. Yeah, just the eyebrow.
which is an all Capaldi episode, as we know.
one of the best Capaldi episodes, indeed. Yeah.
That's inarguable, actually.
Yeah,
it's a great episode.
It's a great episode. Yeah, I can't argue with that. So, just like Caves of Vandazani is probably the best Colin Baker episode.
Yeah, you got me there.
Yeah. Anyway, that's next week. As I don't know what the anniversary gift is for 16 years, but
creepy parties if you're American.
Probably. So, yeah.
In certain Midwest states.
Yeah. And on that note, we'll see you next week.
16th anniversary is wax.
Wax.
Oh, even better.
Stacks of wax. Awesome. Well, that's great. Do not send us wax. Until next time, everyone, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.